All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna check its local and city searches and see if they got BSS for any of them. So we're here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, pinned profile, pinned post, whatever. That's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're bringing in people from the entire intent ladder, highest intent on the left to lowest intent on the right, boudoir photographer business is rising. And if we're not doing that, boudoir photographer business is falling. Pretty simple. Over on the left here, we talk about BSS. So the videos here, it's the highest intent peeps. People search for boudoir photo shoots on Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So highest intent search, closest to the money. We want to dominate that first. And over at the end, BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So that's some other profiles out there in the universe. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're hurting, we're screwed. Because I mean, we're on page 2 or 3 or somewhere later. And we also know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only, they stay on page 1. So this is the bulk of people searching. The bulk of searchers, approximately 80% of all searches. So we actually want to cater this approximately 80% bulk. This is the bulk of the market. We don't care about the 20% that go to page 10. We don't care. Let's be the best in the universe at capturing these 80% that stay on page 1. So 0 slots, bad. 1 slot is bad because then, dude, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're, if we got 9 other competing boudoir photographers on our, on page 1, okay, they got 9, buyers are just clicking down, going down every, clicking every link open on, sending a message to every single person, getting a quote from everyone. And we're not standing out at all. They probably don't even reckon, they don't even remember our name. They're just clicking through all 10, us and 9 other competing boudoir photographers. So this is a diagnosis. It's the most common diagnosis actually I've seen with across all boudoir photography businesses. Also, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's not normal to have that small number of slots on Google. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. These 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody knows about. So market saturation, obviously, more boudoir photographers entering the market seemingly every week. Every time anyone gets a new iPhone, they're sending up their Google My Business profile saying they now shoot boudoir, or they're, saying, they got their website, they're competing for page 1, maybe even getting on page 1 and kicking us off. Or they're getting a new camera, and now they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they also shoot boudoir. So more and more boudoir photographers are always entering the market. That's never going to change. And so that's market saturation. Everyone's used to that. COVID had a massive blast of that. People needed earn income, couldn't work, and now actually needed to became boudoir photographers. So massive glut of boudoir photographers entered the market. The one that almost nobody knows about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So page 1 equality is basically assuming, everyone, everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 of Google. More photographers come in, they might kick me off page 1. Now I got 1 slot on page 2, but that's how it is. It is what it is. It is how it is. And hopefully maybe I get back, someone leaves, someone shuts off their website, I go back to page 1, or maybe I go on to page 3 eventually. And it's just kind of something people accepted, but this is a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And so I feel like most people there's never been a word for this, the false belief, well, for page one equality, people just there's never been a word to describe it. So I feel like people haven't really thought about whether they believe in it yes or believe in it no. But people's actions have told me it seems like people just have accepted it, right? Because they've never, I don't know, had explicitly a word to say, oh, do I believe in that or not? So, and also this false belief of page one equality has been the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses that I have ever seen. People get relegated to page two, they disappear. They're, pretty quickly after their business disappears because referrals only last for so long. You can only spend so much ad money. CAC, customer acquisition cost, always goes up over time. It's the new people that have never heard about us yet that always sustain a business. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Dude, because we're from page two, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never hit in page two. So we're disappearing, and pretty fast after that, our business will be disappearing as well from existence. And if we got one slot on page one, well, that's the scariest number on page one because we are one person could kick us off to page two if they take our slot. And also, we look the same as the other 9. If there's other 9 slots or 9 boudoir photographers, we look the same. Nothing special. They're clicking through all the links, contacting everyone, price shopping everyone. And so it's like 0 or 1, most likely disappearing. For 0 1 both, local and city search. So we got our universe building up here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But luckily, BSS, boudoir search sameness, is treated with social search saturation. It's our S-cubed methodology. It's our proprietary solution we've created. And been mastering it, building it over about the last 7 months. And ready to bring it to market. And with S-cubed methodology, we can actually take it as many page one Google slots as we actually want for whichever keywords we want. Instead of Google PPC, you get 1 extra text ad. Okay, who cares? Dude, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic slots and up, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this S-cubed methodology, it's social search saturation. So we saturate social search first. And then once we saturate social search, Google recognizes that and it flows to us saturating page one of Google search. So page one Google search is actually the byproduct of saturating social search. And this is actually this is the only thing I've seen that actually is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So imagine we're in Topeka, Kansas, where one boudoir photographer we got. There's 1 million total boudoir photographers competing in this city. Everyone's got their own website. Everyone's ranking or trying to rank page one on Google. But we crank S-cubed methodology to the max. When we crank S-cubed methodology to the max, let's say we saturate social search, the first 300 slots for the highest intent keywords across all social platforms. And also, as a result, we capture the first 300 slots organic per Google. Well, there's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that's literally the first 30 pages that we saturate. So when anyone that ever looks for a boudoir photographer in our city, anywhere they look, they search on social or they search on Google, we're basically the only one that they can find, even though there are literally 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And so whose business is growing? Ours, even though our market saturation has never been higher. And our business has never been going faster because we capture so much, search intent or so many search slots. And so again, this is the only solution that I've seen that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. Obviously, more market saturation, the more you got to crank the S-cubed methodology. But at least we finally got something. Finally got something that gives us some hope. Now, once our BSS is treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. So we kind of escape market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, and we achieve page one visibility. Now, a bonus of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So yeah, dude, every new slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking a boudoir photographer out of there, relegating them to page two or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. That's literally 80%, the bulk of the market. It's never going to see them on Google. And same if we do, across all social search platforms. So this is a bonus of doing the using the S-cubed methodology, kind of reducing amount of boudoir photographers we're being price shopped against, or buyers even know exist. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we're no longer at 0 slots on page one or 1 slot on page one. Technically, we can do it with two slots on page one, but we want to get to the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search and city search. Now, boudoir search visibility, if we can get to 3, that's kind of our big hump we want to get over, because we're definitely going to stand out more than all the other boudoir photographers that have 1 slot on page one on Google. And there'll be times when another boudoir photographer will have 2 slots on Google, page one on Google. But if we got 3, I mean, we're dwarfing everyone. So we finally achieved page, it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our universe. We got, disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We got a solution now. S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page one visibility. So we overcome market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. To achieve page one visibility, become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So I'm going to look at me using a S-cubed methodology here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And come down to organic. Got Instagram slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. And again, this is the only solution I've ever seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation. And it has its own, momentum to it. Where ads, if you stop spending to them, momentum instantly drops to 0. That's on Google and on Facebook. All right, now main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its local search and its city search. See if they got BSS for either local or their city search, and also see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimums, 3 out of 10 slots for each. So we're going to Hampton, Virginia, and Newport News, Virginia. All right, let's head over there now. Hampton, Virginia, just no data. All right, so let's see what we got. Go to organic. So boom, we got one. Let's see what else. Let's see. All right, so we got one. So we got 1 out of 10 for local. Yeah. All right, so 1 out of 10 for local. And now let's check city. Let's see. And 1 out of 10 for city. All right, so for both. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for both. And so that means we got BSS for both of them. And we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search for either of them. Now, if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, where you've done your own local search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords and your city search, and either you got BSS for one or both of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for one or both of those searches. And you're seeing that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. You've accepted that. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, the only solution. And you've literally been waiting for something like this. And you're understanding the market saturation, people's getting new gear, and you're loving the initial benefits, more page one slots on Google, and even as a bonus, kicking out competitors in the same city from Google. And with the market saturation, you're seeing AI is going to be taking more people's jobs. So number of boudoir photographers in the market's only going to ever increase more and more into the future as AI takes more and more people's jobs. And so you're saying, okay, we got to fortify our search page one status on Google, and we actually need like backup links to our page one links that could still be ranking for page one because we got so much, we saturated the market so much, right? At least those specific high intent buyer keywords so much. Kind of like fortifying the levees in Nolens, Louisiana for the ocean. And you said, oh, SQ methodology is exactly perfect for that. So hey, that's another kind of bonus to doing it. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer and achieve boudoir search visibility because you know you need these things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand the future benefits of successfully executing everything from SQ methodologies starting from today, which is, we're basically building up invisible thematic keyword columns plugged in or attached to our brand, our website, our business name, our brand name. That is what every day we increase those invisible thematic keyword columns, we're actually building AI search mindshare. So every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability we are featured and continue to be featured in this AI overview at the top of Google search, the most premium placement, and we don't even have to pay any ads to get it. And this is, has momentum, where we can achieve momentum, but start momentum, but we do got to continue building momentum, growing momentum through successful execution of execute methodology. And we also know that as we continue to execute methodology correctly, increase the probability of back-end AI search recommendations as well. So things like ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, increasing the chance AI search recommends us more and more every single day of successful SQ methodology execution. And I know last time I looked for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and dude, it gave me 3. But when I went to actually like manual Google search in that city, I was able to find like 60. So manually searching. So we gotta get these AI search slots because right now Google's approximately 90% of global search. But dude, every single day AI search is increasing every single day. And the best strategy, #1 strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers to be recommended through it is SQ methodology. And also you're an early adopter, you're seeing that since my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city, you're seeing that you can actually prevent your competitors from ever using this strat and actually build up a massive gap of AI mindshare momentum with utilizing SQ methodology to, again, create these invisible thematic keyword columns, attach them to your brand, build up the AI mindshare. And conversely, if one of your competitors was to go with me, you see that you would actually have to go rederive SQ methodology for yourself, re-execute it for yourself, and you'd actually have to equal me and your competitor's execution every day. And that would simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor would have already built up ahead of you. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output every single day of SQ methodology to begin pulling that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and my brand back to yours. And you would not be 100% confident you've even derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place to even put that massive amount of effort into executing it. So you see no that and you're like, screw that, because you realize nobody's got 80 hours in a day to do all that stuff. So you decide you're simply going to be the first mover in your city to actually be using SQ methodology, prevent your competitors from using it. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's actually open. Yeah, hospital is currently closed for new patients. And if we, when I open the hospital for new patient intake, I'll put it here somewhere in the videos, and shoot us a DM then, and then we'll see if you qualify for using our S cubed methodology.